Hello, beautiful friends. I am Laurel Bleadon-Maffei with Illuminating Souls, welcoming you to this episode of Sleepy Bedtime Blessings, a podcast designed to help you rest, relax, and fall asleep, all while deepening in your connection with your beautiful team of angels who love you so. If we're meeting for the first time, I am an angelic practitioner, a spiritual teacher, and an encourager of souls. And I do this through one-on-one angel sessions, which are wonderful. We meet over the phone. It's an hour-long session. And together we explore whatever themes you are interested in. Navigating together, I bring forward messages from the angels, and it's designed to help connect you with your own divine guidance. And if you're interested in scheduling a session, you can contact me through my website, illuminatingsouls.com. I also offer soul mentoring, which provides for consistent support as you navigate a time of growth or transformation in your life, and a variety of classes designed to uplift your spirit. So lots of ways we can connect outside of the podcast. You can visit me on my website or find me on Facebook at Illuminating Souls. And it is my absolute blessing and honor to connect with you and support you on your path of light. So as I come to the blanket fort, and if you're new to this podcast, I broadcast this from underneath a big cozy blanket that I throw over my microphone and my monitor to help dampen the sound, and it is such a cozy place to be here with you. And I'm aware that the energy recently has been pretty intense. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when these energetic wobbles happen, it takes me a few days to find my center in it. And so this morning I woke up really contemplating this concept of divine sanctuary, which is something I've really learned to rely upon and lean into. And in a way, this podcast is designed to create divine sanctuary for you too. It's a broadcast that is filled with love for you, not only love from my heart to yours, but love from the angels, that I'm a big believer in light-filled spaces, that even when we cannot tangibly feel it, our energy body understands it. And so I always ask the angels to infuse these broadcasts with love for you. And this love is not bound by time or space, and so whenever you listen, whether it's years from now or days from now, this love will find you. That's how it works. One of the signs that I sometimes get with this angelic energy is I get really hot all of a sudden. And I've been freezing for the last few hours. And just as I started this broadcast, I got so hot. So it's one of my signs that the angels are here. So I invite you to just take some nice deep breaths in and just let go. That this is a podcast designed to help you rest and fall asleep. So just listening to my voice and feeling the waves of love hopefully are going to help you drift off. So just cozy on in and snuggle on up in whatever way makes you most comfortable. For me, I love lots of blankets and pillows. I love the creature comforts. And I plug in my headset and I choose a sleep podcast and then I drift off to sleep. So whatever works best for you. And there is a bird making a lot of noise in the background, so we'll just add that into the delightful ambiance that is a sleep podcast. Nature sounds brought to you by Mother Nature. This bird has a lot to say. There it is. Some lovely nature sounds for you, brought to you by Mama Earth. So just get comfortable and just let go of whatever has come before this moment. The angels are bringing waves of love to you. They're bringing light your way to help infuse your energy body with more lightness of spirit. And I'm going to call the angels in to be with us. They're already here, but I love the ritual of calling them in. So beautiful angels on high, I invite you to join us here, and I feel your invitation to us to meet in this divine sanctuary with you. Angels, I ask that you help to clear and balance our energy fields so that it becomes easier to feel centered. That you bring in waves of healing for whatever is up, for transformation for each one of us. And angels, I ask that you bring in a lightness of spirit and goodness and inspiration. So, dear ones, just take another breath in and visualize, if you will, a beautiful column of light coming to you now. And this light is filled with divine love that has been calibrated just for you. This is pure source energy filled with love for you. It is here to help calibrate your energy body so that you feel more balanced and centered and uplifted. Just allow this beautiful source energy to flow to you now, helping to smooth out any of the stress you may be carrying in your energy field. Just allowing the blessing of the light to flow to you now. Just allowing yourself to bathe in this beautiful column of golden light. This light helps to create a buffer for you. It will make it easier for you to navigate the 3D world There is so much love here for you now. And just breathe, allowing this wave of light to flow over and through your body, amplifying your connection with divine source energy, feeling the love of God pouring through you. There's a lovely affirmation that I love to use that just flashed here for me now. And so I feel like the angels are inviting me to share it with you. And the affirmation is, through me and as me, miracles are happening on this planet. Just take a deep breath in and feel this beautiful attunement coming to you now. Through me and as me, miracles are happening on this planet. And you need not know how this will happen or what it will look like. In this moment, we are simply inviting you to affirm that you are one who participates in the vibrational experience of miracles manifesting in this world. Through me and as me, miracles are happening on this planet. You know, miracles come in all sizes. It can be a simple, ordinary moment that feels miraculous to you. Or it can be big and robust. Miracles come in all shapes and sizes. And I affirm that you are one who awakens to the awareness of how miracles show up on your path and through your life. Through me and as me, miracles are happening on this planet. And I don't know about you, but I feel the joy of that invitation, that we get to somehow participate in miracles manifesting in this life and in this world. So just take a deep breath in. And the angels are helping to raise your vibration, uplift your energy field, shifting altitude so that it's easier for you to connect with more of all that you are as a divine being in human form. Just allowing yourself to be uplifted. The angels will do the heavy lifting here. You just relax and drift off as the angels help to raise your energy field, to make it easier for you to connect with the wellspring of divine love that is here for you. So give yourself permission to drift off whenever you are ready. I promise not to share anything too important with you, but the angels are going to stay with you while you rest. They'll watch over you. They'll take good care of you. And I affirm that as you rest, that you'll be replenished and restored. My prayer is that your dreams will be sweet, And that whenever it is time for you to awaken, you will feel uplifted and replenished. So you rest well, and the angels will take good care of you. And while you rest, I'm going to read to you. For this episode, I was guided to find another issue of Sunset magazine, which was initially published by the Southern Pacific Company, which I think we've also come to know as the Southern Pacific Railroad. And so this particular issue is listed as Volume 1 from 1898. And I love reading through these old magazines because it gives some insight on what it was like to travel and be a tourist and explore, especially the western part of the country, because this was basically devoted to the western United States. And I read from another issue a few episodes ago, and I just listened to that one last night to go to sleep. And I thought, ooh, I think I'd love to read from another issue. So this is, I believe, their inaugural issue, since it's listed as Volume 1. So we start off with some ads. So we begin with an ad for the Hotel Del Monte in Monterey, California. And Monterey is a gorgeous area right on the ocean. I've only been there, I think, once or twice, and it's so beautiful. So this is what the ad says. The most attractive and palatial all the year-round resort in America. What they say of it. Many presidents, princes, and potentates, it's Potentates, have domiciled at Del Monte and have not thought it beneath them to allow their impressions of it to be published. The following opinions are all from illustrious people. We have nothing at home that approaches the exquisite setting of this exquisite house. The Pacific, all along this coast, wears constantly that dazzling sapphire blue which we see at home only at special times. The sky carries out the same superb color with a glow and depth of sunshine superadded which is almost too brilliant for belief. It is doubtful if it can be equaled in any part of the world. If the traveler has only time to see one place in California, let that be Monterey, for it is the best of its kind. I have never been so fascinated with a place as with Del Monte, and my only regret is that I could not have stayed longer. I shall never forget any of its beauties or other attractions. The hotel itself, the grounds, the flowers, the lawn, the trees, and the 18-mile drive, and the delicious warm salt water baths at the pavilion. Whoever could forget such a fairy spot? Hotel Del Monte is the most beautiful hotel I ever saw. I can see 100 acres of lawn and flowers from my window, while the air is fragrant with the perfume of roses, violets, heliotropes, and other flowers. A beautiful illustrated souvenir book free on application to any representative of the Southern Pacific Company named in Sunset. The next has a headline that says, San Francisco and the Klondike. The eyes of the world are turned on Alaska and the wonderful gold-bearing Klondike. The verified reports of its enormous wealth show that nothing in the history of gold mining can compare with it. But the first and all-important question now is when to start for the Klondike and how to get there most quickly, comfortably, and cheaply. All should appreciate that nothing is gained by a reckless haste that sacrifices health and jeopardizes life, especially in view of the immense magnitude of Alaska's rich domain, and that for many years yet, however great the influx, there will be plenty of room and opportunity for more. That San Francisco is the most natural outfitting headquarters and point of embarkation cannot be questioned. It is the oldest and several times largest city on the Pacific coast, and owes its very existence to just such an epoch as the present. For a half-century, it has been the center and source of supply of the vast Pacific Coast mining industry, and is probably the only city in the world capable of meeting the outfitting demands of any mining emergency, however great. Conceived in a fury of mining excitement and born in a storm of gold, its very instincts and attributes are of mines and golds. Its enormous machine shops have built and equipped the largest mining plants on earth, and its great provision houses and outfitting establishments have fed and clothed and fitted hundreds of thousands of miners throughout the Pacific Hemisphere. Its mining appliances, as well as its supplies, are the best and cheapest because the product of wide experience and put upon the markets at first cost under pressure of strong competition. So, for anybody who is planning on going to the Klondike to mine gold, San Francisco would have been a good stop. And then we have an article about Yosemite. It's a fairly long article, so I won't be reading the whole thing to you, but I'll share with you a bit of it. It says, in the fastness of the Sierra Nevada, 4,000 feet above the sea level, is a chasm or gorge of extraordinary depth. The bottom of the chasm is a level meadow-like tract of about 1,100 acres threaded by a dashing mountain stream, the Merced River, and diversified with groves of noble pines, thickets of smaller growth, and the rarest and most beautiful varieties of flowers, ferns, and grasses. Around this charming sylvan scene rise the walls of the valley, almost vertically to a height of from 3,000 to 5,000 feet. Spires, cliffs, peaks, domes, and turrets of endless variety in form and feature, and over these rugged battlements pour the crystal waters from the region of eternal snow. Such is Yosemite Valley, the most inspiring, the most sublime, the most beautiful. The world over, there is nothing to compare with it. This is the unvarying comment of travelers from many lands. Its imposing peaks are 17 times as high as the tallest European cathedral. The Yosemite Fall, while lesser of volume, is 16 times as high as Niagara. The wonderful proportions of the grand features here visible from below and from above, and at the interesting phases presented by every change of elevation or perspective, are the most remarkable character. The grand ensemble impresses the visitor beyond any previous experience. Yet there is not one of the many wonders of Yosemite, but must needs to be received as it were sectionally. The imagination cannot grasp the stupendous entirety. Entering by the established route through Raymond, Ahwahnee, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and Wawona, the first view of the valley is at inspiration point 1,500 feet above the floor. The walls and summits rising almost perpendicularly for thousands of feet, the distant peaks and the soft greens of the forest, and vegetation on the floor of the valley form a picture that, as a whole, for a time fills the eye. No detail of lofty column or towering dome can secure lodgment in the mind. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "It is the only spot I have ever found that came up to the brag." Gradually the soul expands, and there at the left is El Capitan, a massive granite monolith 3,300 feet high, presenting two sides with the angle toward the valley. The smoothness and verticality of its walls, its height exceeding the width of the valley at this point, and its immense bulk make it the most majestic single object on this planet. On the opposite side of the valley, and seemingly at greater distance, Bridal Veil Fall sways a filmy tracery over the face of the cliff 900 feet from the curving lip to the talus at its base, from which a cloud of spray ascends that under certain conditions is arched by perfect rainbows. Cathedral spires 2,500 feet high, Sentinel Rock, the Half Dome, the North Dome, and Cloud's Rest complete the harmonious picture. And the article goes on for several pages, but I'm going to skip around the magazine a little bit. This next section is called Notes from the Resorts. It's sort of a society page and what's happening at the different resorts. And we do return to the Hotel Del Monte, which we now know is in Monterey. This matchless resort, the culmination of the manifold delights of a California tour, has been favored with an unusually large patronage this season. Many of the regular winter guests who find that Del Monte grows on them with each succeeding season have varied the usual route and traveled north from Southern California to Del Monte via the South Line through Santa Barbara and Surf. This route is an enjoyable one and is covered entirely by daylight, including the stage ride of 70 miles over the picturesque Santa Ynez Mountains. Paso Robles and the old Spanish missions are on this line. 70 miles on a stagecoach. That would have been an interesting experience. You know, I've driven up and down the coast many times, and I always marvel that people would have made that journey by horse, because most people did then. That was the only option, right? It was a stagecoach and railroad. So I just find it so interesting. Okay, there's more though. But wait, there's more. Hotel Del Monte will hereafter be conducted on both the American and European plans. Mr. B.F. Jones and a party of Pennsylvania in private car Cleopatra spent some time here in March and were delighted with the hotel and surroundings. The meeting of the Transcontinental Freight Bureau here in March brought together many representative railwaymen and merchants from all parts of the country. Other visitors of note during the season include Mr. J.T. Brooks, second vice president of the Pennsylvania Lines, Governor Hastings of Pennsylvania, F.D. Ewan, W.A. Avery, and F.B. Morley, prominent railwaymen of Michigan. A beautiful souvenir of Hotel Del Monte has just been issued for gratuitous circulation. It contains 32 pages, and the text is exquisitely embellished and illustrated with the daintiest of halftones. Easy for me to say, with the daintiest of halftones. I love this writing. All right, we now come to a section about Los Angeles. Again, it's in the notes from the resorts. Los Angeles. In spite of the growth of the commercial and manufacturing interests, Los Angeles has not yet lost its character of the rendezvous for California winter tourist travel, and its beautiful flower-embowered streets and parks have been alive with happy Easterners and coaching and excursion parties to Baldwin Ranch, Santa Monica, Catalina Island, and over the inside track to Redlands and Riverside have been numerous. The annual field day of the Intercollegiate Athletic Association of Southern California will be held on the Southern Pacific Company's grounds at Santa Monica on April 30th. The Hotel Metropole at Avalon, Catalina has recently been remodeled and enlarged. The annual festival La Fiesta de Los Angeles that has been scored such repeated successes in the past will be held this year commencing May 2nd, notwithstanding the fact that the transportation lines did not find it expedient to contribute to the entertainment fund in cash, but instead will do their part in efficient advertising, liberal reductions in rates, and the furnishing of extra facilities in the way of special trains. Los Angeles has been true to her past in manifesting her independence by proceeding with the festival. If its success depended solely on financial assistance from the railroads, it certainly was not a popular institution. It should be, and we believe will be conducted on a higher plane than that of a mere excursion attraction. Its possibilities are boundless and its fame already almost worldwide. This year, the Water Carnival at Westlake Park will be repeated with the addition of unique electrical effects. For the grand concerts, many soloists of a national reputation have been engaged. There will be an orchestra of 45 pieces and a chorus of 200 voices. Racing at the park, Floral Day, and elaborate street pageants will fill the week of gladness. And this is rather sobering. It says, later advices state that in case war is declared, there will be no fiesta. So we'll take a breath on that. And now we go to some reflection on what was happening in Riverside. So the genuine tourist has been very much in evidence this season. You can see them everywhere on the trains, at the hotels, on the streets, and almost always good-natured, pleasantly inquisitive, manifesting much pleasure at the sight of new conditions, always ready to see new places, interested in everything promising novelty, and rewarding the passer-by who has given information asked for, with many ohs, expressions of satisfaction and appreciation, until we all feel like saying, "Bless the tourist, may they become a mighty legion, yea, verily," until we shall be obliged to run 2 Sunset Limited each day instead of each week. Mrs. Robert Louis Stevenson, widow of the late author, visited Riverside recently and left on the Sunset Limited en route to Scotland, where she goes to settle up the estate of her husband. The Glenwood Tavern has been a very busy place this winter. Cots, billiard tables, and other extremes have been resorted to in the effort to stow away the coming guest, after he had been properly welcomed by mine host Miller and his corps of available assistants. But no matter how thick they came, were all taken care of and invited to come again and stay longer when the new Glenwood shall have become a substantial reality. Miss Grace Gordon and Miss Daisy McKee of Cambridge, New York, who have been wintering at Riverside, left on the Sunset Limited for home, going by way of the City of Mexico, where they will spend some weeks in seeing Mexican life. The Rowell Hotel, which has been closed for several months, will soon be reopened under new management. The Hollywood, which is spelled Holy, so I wonder if it's the Holywood, recently enlarged by a 20-room addition, is still further improved by the construction of 2 additional stories over the entire building and the installment of a complete elevator service. In Pasadena, the aristocratic residence town of Southern California and rendezvous for the traveling upper 10, has enjoyed a remarkably gay season at the hotel accommodations have been sorely taxed. The Hotel Green has an annex under construction which will be completed about July 1st, and 100 additional rooms will be added to the La Pintoresca during the summer, which will relieve the pressure next season. The Hotel Green Annex will be connected with the main building across the street by a covered archway forming a charming promenade and furnished with a miniature trolley car that will convey guests to and from the office. In Redlands, our picturesque city and Smiley Heights are becoming so well known that few visit Southern California without coming here. An average of 30 tourists are driven over the heights daily. T.P. Dewey, Vice President of the People's Bank of Clyde, Ohio, was a recent arrival via Sunset Limited. Mr. U.S. Grant Jr. and party enjoyed the ride over Smiley Heights last month. Mrs. E.V. Putnam and Miss Mary Putnam were among the passengers for St. Louis on the Sunset Limited. And now we get to Coronado, which I love, which is down near San Diego. So a new jetty has been built at Coronado, forming a permanent pleasure pier and affording a miniature harbor for small craft near the hotel. Coronado has enjoyed an unusually large patronage this season in common with other California resorts. Many causes are assigned for the big increase in this winter's travel. Some people believe that the Florida frosts have thrown the attention of tourists in other channels than the route to the Palmetto Lands. Others declare that the general prosperity has induced more Eastern people to spy out their own country, while still others think it's only the natural increase due to improved transportation facilities and the widening popularity of California. It is true that the transportation facilities have worked wonders with travel to California. This year, many visitors, perhaps more than half, have first enjoyed the manifold beauties and novelties of life in Mexico, coming on to California over the Sunset route of the Southern Pacific Company. The superb equipment of the limited trains has excited the admiration of all travelers. Speeding across the continent is now a luxury, not equaled in some respects by remaining at home. New scenes, new air, mountain and vale, river and hamlet speed across the vision in glorious panorama. The Sunset Route has received high praise for the country through which it traverses, a country unique in scenic attractions and varied in topography. Many a guest this winter sitting on the piazzas of Hotel del Coronado and gazing at the sunsets beyond Point Loma have been reminded of the happy name of the Southern Pacific Route and has voiced his satisfaction with the choice that led to the sunset over that line. And that really was a remarkable time with the railroads making travel across the country so much easier than it had ever been before. Now in the day and age of airplane travel, we forget how industrious one had to be to try to travel across several states, not to mention across the country. So here there's still more about Coronado. Among the notables at Coronado last month were Mr. Thomas Costigan of New York, Mrs. Ralph Sprague of Chicago, President D.B. Robinson and party of the St. Louis and San Francisco, Rye, President and Mrs. E.P. Ripley of the Atchison, and it goes on to list more names. Then it says a prominent party of New Yorkers recently arriving at Hotel Del Coronado over the Sunset Route is J.H. Curran, Miss Beckwith, Miss Isabel Bicknell, Harry Goldberg, J. Dunbar Wright, and Mr. and Mrs. Clement C. Moore. I just love how they named everybody. We would never do that today, although we just name ourselves on social media. And here's Santa Monica. So extensive improvements have been made at the Arcadia Hotel here, both as to the interior of the house and furnishings, as well as in beautifying the grounds. Then it lists recent visitors at Santa Monica. Then it says an unusually brisk summer business is indicated for Santa Monica and the season is already opened. And then there's a section for Santa Cruz. This lovely flower-embowered seaside resort has been thronged with tourists throughout the winter, and with the summer will come increasing numbers of Californians. I can just imagine going up and down the coast and seeing all of these places. And then I skipped ahead to the next issue, and there's some more notes from the resort. I just think these are interesting. So there is a big section of the Hotel Del Monte. I can only imagine that they are paying a lot of advertising here, and therefore they're getting prime position. But here we'll go to Long Beach. The Chautauqua assembles here July 18th and continues till August 13th. The assembly promises to be more than ordinarily successful, and many prominent persons are to take part. 2 encampments are to be held here in September. The GAR, including the states of California and Nevada, and the Uniform Rank Knights of Pythias. I have no idea what any of that is, but I'll keep going. The city of Long Beach was incorporated lately, and many improvements in sidewalks, parks, and lights are in progress. A large number of families are already here from points in Arizona, choosing Long Beach for a summer home in order to give their children the advantage of the exceptional school facilities. Mr. Dobbins of Pasadena is building a fine residence here, as are also a number of other wealthy people who winter in Pasadena. The fishermen have been enjoying rare sport on the Pleasure Wharf, herring, barracuda, rock bass, and sea bass being plentiful. We come back to Santa Monica, talking about the Hotel Arcadia again. It says Hotel Arcadia is rapidly filling up for the summer, and every mail brings demands for reservations. The fast beach trains from Los Angeles have been placed in service by the Southern Pacific for the summer travel. Construction is expected to commence soon on the new Pleasure Wharf, to be built by the Santa Monica Beach Improvement Company. Very extensive improvements have been made in the Arcadia Hotel, among the construction of new breakfast room overlooking the ocean and entirely enclosed with glass. Another novel feature is a fish grill room decorated in a unique manner with a combination of nets, lines, sea moss, and shells suggestive of seafood, which will be made a specialty in this room. A cement sidewalk 24 feet wide has been laid from the beach to the hotel, and the new tennis courts and croquet grounds. Wide lawns interspersed with flowers and shrubbery have been grown between the hotel and the beach, and a large pagoda furnished with easy chairs has been placed in one of the lawns. New bathing suits have been provided for this season at the Arcadia Bath House. I'll have to go back and look and see where that was in Santa Monica. We also have some snippets from Santa Barbara. So Santa Barbara, for some reason, enjoys unusual popularity with bridal couples. On one day, there were no less than 6 happy pairs on the broad veranda of the Arlington Hotel. The last monthly statistics published placed Santa Barbara in the lead among California resorts for even temperature and the absence of winds. Now about Catalina, after the most successful winter season in its history, Santa Catalina enters on the summer campaign with a large contingent of visitors at Metropole. The Metropole has been enlarged to double its former size, and many new cottages have been built. And now here's a segment on Pacific Grove. So Pacific Grove, always beautiful, is looking its loveliest now with its wreath of flowers, its grand old trees, and its picturesque surroundings all under the bluest of skies. The month of June will bring, besides the regular quota of summer guests, about 300 students and teachers for the summer School of Science and Letters, which opens June 6th for 3 months. There will be a large corps of instructors from Stanford, the University of California, and the University of the Pacific, and great interest is being manifested in the work. A large number of cottages are already rented and engaged for this coming month, and the Hotel El Carmelo has had numerous applications, all of which promises a successful season in this most popular watering place. And here's a section on Yosemite. So a new route to the Yosemite has been opened via Southern Pacific to Oakdale, Sierra Railway to Chinese, and thence by stage. Through sleeping cars run daily between San Francisco, Chinese, and Jamestown, also between San Francisco and Raymond, and tickets are on sale which allow passengers a choice of routes going via Raymond and Wawona and returning via Oakdale or vice versa. The Yosemite season opened nearly 3 weeks early this year owing to the light snows in the mountains, and already over 350 people have gone in by the Wawona route alone. There was a light fall of snow and some rain in the valley about May 10th. The Prince of Belgium and party were guests at the Wawona Hotel en route to Yosemite last month. Now we have another section about Coronado and all the people that are traveling there. As I recall, a lot of royalty used to go to Coronado. It's beautiful. I've stayed there before. Then I'm just going to skip to the next issue. There's a couple of ads. One is for a place in Mount Shasta, Tavern of Castle Crag, a beautiful summer home, perfectly appointed and adapted to every requirement for the comfort and refreshment of tired city people. All the pleasures of forest and stream and mountain climbing in the wilderness with the luxuries of a high-class hotel. Under the same management as the famous Hotel Del Monte. And then we have an ad for Hotel Arcadia that we have been reading about in Santa Monica. The prettiest, breeziest, and gayest seaside resort on the southern coast. Excellent bathing, boating, and fishing facilities. Prompt and frequent steam and electric transportation to and from Los Angeles. Occupies a beautiful site on the bluff overlooking the ocean. It is surrounded by wide lawns interspersed with flowers and shrubbery. Under the new management, extensive improvements have been made which place the Arcadia in the front ranks of seashore hotels on the Pacific. I find this magazine so interesting. They're really in a lot of ways marketing the West. So of course they're the railroad. that transports people to Southern California and Northern California and Tahoe and Yosemite. And so they're marketing this to people back east. They've got the railroads, and there are these very expensive resorts that are being built. And I think it's such an interesting time in the development of these areas of California: Coronado, Pasadena, Santa Monica. And you look and see now how much California has been developed. It must have been such an interesting experience to get to come here 120 years ago, before these areas were so developed. There's so much beauty in California. And it must have been extraordinary to have seen it back then before it was so overly developed. So lots more articles in these magazines. You can always find them on Google Books for free. That's where I get them from. I love Google Books. If you haven't been there, you can search for all kinds of books and magazines. And if they were published prior to 1926, typically they have been scanned and are available for free. So we'll read more articles from these magazines because, I don't know, I love their language. They were so flowery. You know, it was a time before radio. It was a time before color photography. And so the writer really had to do justice in describing these wondrous places to the readers. And I find that absolutely enchanting. So thank you for letting me share this with you. I hope you are asleep, and if you're not asleep and would like more companionship, you can queue up another episode. There are a lot of them in the library. But for now, the angels and I wish you sweet dreams. So thank you so much for letting us share this time with you. You are precious in all this world, and I am deeply, deeply grateful for the gift of you. So I send you love, and thank you so much. Be well. We'll talk again soon.